All right, so we're starting chapter 3 of our Real Estate Investing 101 free class. Just as a reminder, so chapter 1 was my little take on goal setting and perhaps a unique approach that others don't really talk about, basically trying to identify where you are, what your weaknesses are, then breaking down your goals into a couple of different avenues. One is sort of the North Star, where do you want to go? And then by looking at your weaknesses, what can you do to address some of those? From there, we went into getting your money right, really understanding, sort of what you have at your disposal, how best to leverage the many options for lending and the like. So today what we're going to do is we're going to switch it up and we're going to talk about a key constraint that many of my listeners have and that perhaps should, influence a key metric that you all have. I think there's a lot of talk about a different metric. And a lot of the investors I talk to sort of focus on, I don't really want to say the wrong one, but maybe an ulterior one. And then we're going to break down the quality differences of properties that we all look at and bid on all the time. So that's what today will be about. So as always, do me a favor, subscribe. We're tracking over 300 as of today, so greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button if you like what we're talking about. And do me a favor, leave a comment. It really helps me interact with you and really understand what's going on. So greatly appreciate it. Excuse me. So the first thing I want to talk about is either return on dollars, right? That's the dollar sign, or return on time. Why I want to talk about this is I believe a lot of people think ROI or, maybe cap rate or yield or all of that when, again, this 101 class is put together for busy professionals who are already, fully committed with their day job, family commitments and the like. So, something I would propose for busy professionals is just perhaps you might want to think about your return on time as perhaps at least equally important as return on investment. What I mean by that is, let's just say there's a return on investment that gives you, pick a number, $200 a month. But it requires you to spend 20 hours a month to get that. Where if you went after a more conservative investment and maybe you got $100 a month, but you only thought about it 1 hour a month, right? I would propose that for many of you that you have an hour that you can put on these investments, but you certainly don't have 20. So that's really what this is asking you to think about. So again, is return on investment the only metric that matters? Hopefully you're starting to get a sense that that's not the case. I really want busy professionals to think return on time, right? I was speaking with a friend the other day who was evaluating a couple of asset purchases in Michigan, and he was doing a 1031 exchange and the like, and I think one was going to be supposedly a better deal, right? A better return, but it was going to be very active management, and it was probably going to be a year of pain. And this individual just got a new job, already travels a bunch. And, I don't know if it was heartbreaking, but it was certainly, I certainly had to let him know that investment at this point in his career is not the right one. All right. We don't think about time enough. So that's, really what caused me to sort of step back, redo this entire class, was that one phone conversation with a friend, because I want all of you to think about return on time. And then we can talk about return on investment. That's the reason why. That's why I created this entire presentation and then redid it, because I want you to think about return on time first, right? Because if you're going with my strategy of getting to 4, right, you're trying to get to 4 within the next 2 to 4 years. And then you want to just set those down and let them go for the next 15. So you let, time be a benefit. So again, when you talk about return on time, look in the mirror and ask yourself some hard questions, right? How much time do I really have, right? How much extra time do you have? And most of you, you're talking minutes, if not hours a month, that you can find to deploy in this and, continually active managing and things of that nature. And again, don't forget the goal from step 1, right? You got to keep your job, you got to keep saving, right? You don't want an investment to take away precious time from your family or cause your work to suffer or anything like that. Again, not a lot of people have extra cycles, right, that you can just willy-nilly give away to an investment that's frankly becomes a headache. And if that does happen, many of you will just sell it and go, I give up. It wasn't for me. Again, we're not trying to, and I'm certainly not recommending buying return on investments that are so great but require you to have a full-time job. And that's not what we're doing here in this investing program. So do me a favor, start considering return on time. Remember, conservative financing is a key tenet for the folks that I speak with, because it's about making this real estate investing journey as easy and stressless as possible. So now let's talk about quality differences and how that impacts dollars and time. So there's really three that we talk about, right? There's the cheap in the slumlord. There's the well-used but lived in, right? Often rented under market. And then there's what I call pride of ownership rentals, right? These are basically, you basically can take any house, duplex, quad, apartment building, and put them in one of these categories. And they offer different returns, and they offer different time commitments. So we're just going to go one by one. So cheap slumlord properties, these are the ones that stand out in the MLS because they're just cheaper than everything else. They are, or at least should be, vacant, perhaps even boarded up. They're probably 30 to 50% cheaper than anything else. So they kind of, when you sort by price and, all of that, they go right to the top. These are ones that, just frankly catch our attention because of how cheap they are. I would tell you that, as you'll see, that they're not really that cheap. Things like, they say things like light fixer, bring a hammer, vacant, bring your imagination, sweat equity, forced appreciation. They say things like this. The sad fact is that these require the most time. I would say they're actually a full-time job. They require a huge amount of cash because there's no banks that are going to finance these. So if you have, some money tucked away and you're looking to do a down payment and hold, these really aren't an option for you. You have to have a pretty extensive network of contractors and the like, because there's just so much work and permits and just so much stuff going on. And there's just so much risk. You just never know what these slumlord properties are hiding underneath a coat of paint or flooring or any of that nature. And again, hopefully these slumlord conditions are empty, but unfortunately I've seen some that had some tenants in them. It's just, I'm just not happy when I see stuff like that. So used but lived in, these ones talk about adding value, and really what they're calling for is raising rents. As you'll see, that's a sucker's game to me. I have purchased lots of these hoping I could raise rents, and every time I do, I basically sign up for 6 months of pain because the tenants will stop paying, then I got to evict them, and I basically pay mortgage payments with no rent coming in, which isn't any fun. Talk about long-term tenant, owners never raised rents, all those things. This is important. The Excel spreadsheets often tell you to buy these, raise rents $100 or $200 and life will be good. It does happen, I'm sure. Never really happened to me. Every time I did that, I had to raise rents again. Tenants didn't pay. Then I had to evict, so I go 3 to 5 months without any rent collection. Then I have a month or two of turning it because I still have to turn it to current condition. So I could be out 6 months of rent, and pretty soon that's a terrible year for that property. Again, a lot of time and stress, and they're more of a hassle than they're led to believe. And again, these often require a bunch of work. So not only are you 6 months short on rent collection, but you've got to spend another, $20,000 or $40,000 in your cash, which you could have used for a down payment somewhere else. And okay, so I'm sure it's clear by now, but I got to just say it anyway. If you're a busy professional and you're looking to buy, 2 to 4 rentals and just hold for 15, 20, 30 years, do yourself a favor and only buy pride of ownership. Primarily because banks love these. They appraise, they're fully done, easy to manage. They require a down payment, and that's it, right? You're not reaching back into your bank account and pulling out cash to do a $20,000 or $40,000 remodel. This is the mistake I made way back when, is I bought cheap stuff, tried to raise rents, then held, and it was just horrible. I did that over and over. They're going to have new floor, paints, kitchens, bathrooms, just, potentially new roofs, new windows, heating, cooling, all those things. Again, new fencing, perhaps. Just these all can have, brand new stuff, or at least stuff that's in working condition. Again, you're not going to have any gap in cash flow, right? Because you're going to be buying an asset that's turnkey, already has a tenant in them, right? So it's already leased at market, so you don't have to do the whole 60-day notice to raise rents and the like. And most importantly, these are set up for conservative financing. Put extra down because, again, right, you don't have any repair money or make ready costs, so make sure you put enough down to own it long term. And then you have the unlimited hold time, which is what we're all going after, right? You want to hold these for 15 to 30 years. You got to do that with conservative financing. All right, so summary. All right, if time is your major constraint, you should at least consider return on time. I believe a lot of the books and podcasts out there talk about return on investment. They show you how to do calculations and yields and all of that. And unfortunately, for most of you, that's not, and again, I don't want to say it's not the most important. It's certainly important, but you're ignoring your constraint. And for most of you, your constraint is time. So consider time in your consideration of assets. Slumlord properties require all cash at purchase, or at least someone's cash, maybe not yours, but private money, hard money, something like that. No bank's going to loan on them is the point. Requires huge amount of time as far as repairs and commitment and teamwork, and just lots of things could go wrong. Well-used properties require, again, a significant amount of cash, not only the down payment, but that extra set. Provide the least consistent sort of income streams, which is what you're looking to buy, because you have this whole, I got to raise rents and see what happens. And, typically bad stuff happens. Then there's the pride of ownerships, again, the one that I'm recommending for each of you, because you get cash flow the day you close. You have conservative financing, ideally 30-year fixed mortgages. This gives you the unlimited hold time, which is what you want, so you're not influenced by whatever craziness is going on in the market. You just put it away and forget it, which is what you should be doing. So real quick, knowledge check. So real quick, what are the 3 types of properties that I talk about? I hit on them a couple of different times. And then what can cause cheap but lived in properties to be bad investments in my mind? Do you remember what that is? So again, the answer to number 1 is obviously slumlord, well used but lived in, and then pride of ownership. Those are the 3 types. I believe anything from houses up through apartment buildings will fall into one of those categories. And then the answer to question number 2 is the extra cash required after you close, right? So it's another 20 to 40 grand, probably matching your down payment in many cases. And it could take you a while to recoup those investments. All right, so what we're going to do next is look at we're going to review the market cycles. I've been through one full turn of that, so we'll talk about that. Again, if you like what you have here, do me a favor, hit the like button right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a question or comment below, and please, please, please help grow the channel by subscribing and asking your friends to subscribe. Have a great day.